Hey everybody, hope everybody's doing good. I'm going to wait for the usual sound to come on and make sure it's working. Happy Thursday. The markets are absolutely going crazy right now. And turn off my phone right now. There it is. We have audio, which is great. And we got a lot to cover. So as usual, let's not waste any time. Make sure I got this in the right place. So I did bring my pump. But you know what? Things are already pumping, so we don't even need it today. And thank you all for the good... Oh, there goes the pump against my leg. For the good juju. So as usual, let's just go kill it. So thank you all for being here. Happy Thursday. And for those of you who aren't here in Thursday, like in Australia, with the morning coffee, happy morning. And happy Friday. So disclaimer, none of this is investment advice. You know the deal, math, money, freedom. This is a crazy green day. And everything's up. In fact, since this slide was taken, things are even a lot higher. Basically, Bitcoin now is at 46,600. Yeah, it's up a little bit, not a lot higher. And Ethereum is hitting 3173. So Ethereum is up, but everything is green. Everything's on fire. And let me explain why. So in case anybody's interested, let's jump into the first thing. The illiquid supply, and I've been talking about this since I've been blue in the face, but it's getting more and more scarce, this whole Bitcoin thing, and people are beginning to realize it. That'll be kind of the theme of today. So per this chart from Glassnode, 78% of the Bitcoin supply is illiquid, which means it's locked down, which means we have approximately 22% to play with. And that is basically, there's about 1.2 million of highly liquid supply, and about 3 million Bitcoin that are considered a liquid supply that could be sold or not. But most people are hodlers. So I know the stories of mortgage companies who want to take, an American mortgage company that wants to take Bitcoin for payment. No, you pay your mortgage with fiat and you borrow fiat. You don't pay your mortgage with Bitcoin. So let's jump in and see what else we can see. So on this similar type of chart, this is another view of kind of what we're talking about, just to give you a visualization. I added two red lines to the Glassnode chart to give you an idea. So blue is the illiquid supply, which is basically Bitcoin going off the exchanges and being locked away. And yellow or orange, depending on your colored blindness, it is going down fast. And this is the highest level of liquid versus illiquid since 2017. So this is a pretty impressive thing. And this happens during bull markets. And vice versa happens during bear markets. So again, another extremely bullish sign for everybody. And all the bears that are waiting for $20,000 Bitcoin, good luck. Now, let's talk about what probably one of the most ruthless investors in my mind actually see. This is Blackrock. What I mean ruthless is they go in and they go in hard. They don't dabble. It's either all or nothing with this shop. And basically, they have 9 trillion in assets approximately, and they've taken significant stakes into mining companies. The mining companies you know well. They bought 6.71% of Marathon Digital Holdings and 6.61% of Riot Blockchain. So they like their sixes. They like that 6.6, 6.7 ratio of a company that they buy, and they dropped $400 million. So hold on to your Hut 8, if you know what I mean. So they haven't bought those guys, but it's only a matter of time before other investors, when they can't invest directly in Bitcoin, they buy the proxies, and they see this as a cool proxy. And they've been getting in since early this year. Now let's talk a little bit about Ethereum and some very bullish Ethereum news. And this is a CEO of a cryptocurrency media firm called Gokhshtein. His name is David Gokhshtein, CEO. And he basically believes Ethereum could go to 14,000 by year end 2022. He also speaks about Dogecoin, but I'm not going to talk about dollar Doge. But what's really interesting about his thoughts on the market is not so much Ethereum going to 14,000, but it's the time frame. He gave the target for year end 2022. And you know, I've been talking about the elongated cycle and everything else. And this is another data point that maybe this whole bull market might go all the end to the end of 2022. So anyway, but bear in mind as well, he is a media CEO and not a financial advisor. So do that with as you may. So another ETH versus Bitcoin news. This is another data point about Ethereum becoming super hot. This is the CEO of DeFi Group, basically believes Ethereum could flip Bitcoin in the next 5 years, so out to 2026. Now, the key takeaways from this is basically ever since people have seen the huge network effects of Ethereum happening, and then very, very impressive growth over the last few months. There's a whole bunch of people that are flowing in and having, considering Ethereum a store of value and believe it could flip. So you have people like Todd Morley, the co-founder of Guggenheim Partners. He said basically things that Ethereum has a much higher utility value than Bitcoin because of the smart contracts platform. You got Mike Novogratz, a big fan of his. He also hinted that a scenario is possible that with Ethereum and its use case, it could also exceed the value of Bitcoin because he sees Ethereum being the cornerstone of Web 3.0. Also, when I'm so bullish on Ethereum, as you guys know, also think Solana, think Polkadot, even think AVAX. We'll talk more about them later. So that was interesting news, and who knows if it flips or not. Either way, we're all set because we're well positioned in both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you got two of the winning dogs in the race. Now, this is another thing, and people always ask, where do you see Ethereum being drained from exchanges? And similar to the Bitcoin supply crunch, but even more extreme, is Ethereum. As Ethereum will go deflationary at the end of this year, it's crazy what's happening. So whales moved $1 billion in Ethereum to a bunch of wallets. And this is just a kind of a sign of the times. Everything's been drained from the exchanges. Extremely bullish signs. Supply crunch is coming. So let's talk about Matic. The question I get all the time is like, is Matic dead? And I'll touch on Matic a few times today. But first of all, people think with Ethereum 2.0, there no longer is a role for Matic. But the truth is, no, they have many other use cases. So basically, it is an Ethereum scaling suite layer 2 solution, but they are launching a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, and that is basically going to help DeFi interoperability and adoption. Now, the firm is working closely with Aave, Chainlink, SushiSwap to help fund the program. So there is definitely life after ETH 2.0 for Matic. So don't worry, everybody. And even though I don't own SushiSwap, I do own Aave and Chainlink, and I'll talk more about those real soon. So before we talk about this, we'll talk about Avalanche. Avalanche is making a big push into DeFi. As you guys know, I'm a big DeFi bull. Yesterday got a lot of heat because if we talk about media streaming market, it's $120 billion market by the year 2025, 2026. DeFi and CeFi, the whole Fi area is a $400 trillion market. So that's why I'm so bullish. It's huge. It's everything. Anyway, back to Avalanche. They're pushing big into DeFi. You remember I covered Avalanche and the Cornell University professor, I think Emin from Turkey. He basically, Avalanche is touted as a potential Ethereum killer. I don't think so. I think it's a much higher chance of Solana being that. But I also believe Ethereum will survive through everything because of the network effect. And this market is so big, there's enough room for many players. But they're working with Aave and Curve as two of the largest DeFi protocols. And between the two of them have about 25 billion, I think, locked in value. So that's massive. And this is a very, very bullish sign. So what you're seeing here, everybody, interoperability, the work that Matic is doing, the work that these guys are doing, everybody's beginning to team up and share. And that's very, very powerful and very synergistic. So let's look at the Avalanche chart. This thing has been on fire. It's 3x'd in a month. And it's a key part of the Invest Answers Retire on Crypto portfolio that we started with $50,000 on June 22nd. And it's at last run and gone bonkers just over the last week. And that's what happens with these things. Sometimes you just got to wait for them to pounce. And then they eventually do. As long as you pick the right horses and it's a quality protocol, it'll eventually pounce. So let's look at the Aave chart, another key part of our Retire on Crypto portfolio. This sadly is only gone up 2x in a month. 100% gains makes a lot of people very sad in this crazy market. But the key point to note here is it did bounce off the red line, which is a 200-day moving average. So it shows you that's a good level of support. For those who don't have any Aave, that's a good entry point right at that support level if it goes down there again. So a little bit on the Retire portfolio, people are asking what's the status. So this is a quick check-in on this portfolio just to show you the performance. And of the top gainers. These are stat ranked in terms of the multiples since purchase. So Solana is a clear winner, 338% of multiples, 3.38, 3.4 times since we got in, and it's just been crazy ever since. Avalanche is number 2 at 2.6 times, and Cardano 2.3 times. Number 3, Aave number 4, 220% up. Now the other big mover, the big laggard of the week, has been Algorand, but that has gone up a little bit, not too much, 44%, but we hope it'll move a lot more real soon. And Polygon, which we mentioned as well, the complete laggard of everything. It's been outdone by Engine Coin. So again, these returns are still staggering for such a short time frame, but nothing beats Solana right now. So we'll see what happens. And Solana's been a little bit weak lately. I'm going to touch on that. I don't want to talk too much about Solana because I do already. So back on the DeFi thread, as you know, my news stories are always interrelated. DeFi regulation will probably fall under SEC scrutiny under this guy, Gary Gensler. And he could be coming after it hard. So to bring down the temperature of the room a little bit, he basically said the term DeFi is a misnomer because many platforms that facilitate something that might be decentralized in some aspects, but are highly centralized in other aspects. So this is why we have this whole crypto compendium to look at this factor, because the more centralized you are, the more in danger you are from regulation. So people ask, oh, well, it doesn't really matter, centralized, decentralized, or no, really, it is decentralized. Like, no, it's not. When you dig into it and find out exactly who's pulling the strings, who's orchestrating everything, it's a very, very important aspect to look at when you look at crypto. So this was also funny. We're going to switch gears a little bit back to Bitcoin and gold for a second. Peter, the gold bug, admits this took me aback. He admitted in an interview today that it's entirely possible that Bitcoin could go to $100,000, even $1 million per coin. But he remains a non-believer. Now, love him or hate him, this guy knows his macro, he knows his investing and everything else, but he just can't get over the hump of hating Bitcoin. So, but he's slowly coming around and he's admitting fault at last, which is great. He basically said other words like, oh my God, I wish when I heard about it from Max Kaiser, if you're out there, I could have put $100,000 in this and it would have been completely life-changing. I'd be way, way, way beyond a billionaire now. And he was regretting ruining that moment. So anyway, he's just sad he's not a billionaire. Could have been with just 100 grand if he took a little bit of his gold profits from slinging gold for all his years to people. Anyway, enough on Peter Schiff, but let's talk more about gold for a second. This is the Palantir and gold news. A lot of people are kind of perplexed by why is Palantir putting gold on the balance sheet? Basically, I have a couple of theories. I know many of you have theories out there. So first of all, they have bought $51 million of gold, which is not that much for them, but it's substantial. They didn't put Bitcoin on the balance sheet, which is kind of strange when you think the number one technology security company on earth, led by a tech mogul, buys physical gold. It's just weird. But then when you think deeper as to why they would do that is, and they openly disclose, they fear there could be a black swan event. I mean, if you ask me, you could theoretically argue there's multiple black swan events happening right now. You've got Afghanistan, you got C-19, you got supply chain problems, you got inflation, you got fiat printing. It's a whole bunch of messiness. You got markets at all-time high. So yeah, something could happen, but there's still a lot of money sloshing around the system. Now, the question is, why gold? So the theory is maybe, and I don't want to alarm anybody here, but I like to try think how these guys are thinking. First of all, Palantir is extremely wired into what's going on in the world. Second of all, if anybody knows that a black swan event is coming, it's these guys. Third of all, the reason they bought gold is because they believe there is a potential, maybe a very small chance, but we could be going back to caveman times. And what I mean by that is no internet. And when you have no internet, you have no Bitcoin. So maybe that's their theory. I don't know. It's kind of scary to think about, but I just want everybody to also realize always when you're investing, there's always a risk. And hopefully, again, another second time, I'm kind of lowering the temperature in the room. We've made crazy gains in a short amount of time. Just be careful, everybody. Be careful out there. Something always could happen. I always say there's a 1% chance that Bitcoin could go to zero. So let's talk a little bit about banks and Wells Fargo. So this is so cool. So Wells Fargo, for those of you who don't know, they were fined by the government for screwing over poor retail customers with fake accounts, fake lines of credit, fake fees, and just ripped millions and millions of customers off for years and years. Anyway, well, then they were always a little bit kind of on the fence, kind of anti-Bitcoin. And do you know how you get Bitcoin from Wells Fargo? Yeah, you got to be rich. So they just launched a new Bitcoin fund for their wealthy clients. These are people with more than $5 million in cash. Then you might get access to Bitcoin through Wells Fargo. So as they say, gradually, then subtly. Don't you love your banks? I know you do. Anyway, let's talk a bit more about Amazon, which is kind of interesting. A little bit of non-crypto news, but sort of related. Amazon plans to open large retail stores, and this could have a huge impact on some of the other existing stores that are out there, especially ones that are teetering on the brink of going bankrupt. Nobody can compete with this well-oiled machine. When Amazon bought Whole Foods, they said, oh, that's the kiss of death for Amazon. Look what they did to it. It was genius. So these guys know what they're doing. They're getting into the market. And related to that as well, Amazon Value, you know, it's on my retirement equities shopping list. Oh, I'm hoping for a little market dip because Amazon Value, if you look at their Amazon Web Services business, where they do a whole bunch of cloud services that they sell, you know, storage and online capabilities, that business is said to be worth about $1 trillion. So they do $60 billion of revenue, 40% year-over-year growth, and the market cap of Amazon is only 1.6 trillion. So you do the math. The web services piece is worth $1 trillion. That means the rest of the business is worth 600 million, which means this is a very undervalued company. Using very rudimentary math, but we're going to do more on Amazon as we go forward. And finally, the funniest thumbnail of the day from Crypto Messiah. Let's go to church, everybody, and talk. So Q&A time, and hope everybody's doing good. And I hope that was a good update. And we also check on the market and wonder what's going to happen. Switch cameras. All right. Let me see. Where are the questions? There they are. Thank you. We got K8 supporting us here. And all the cool people. David Fulton. Should we be concerned that 100 wallets hold 70% of DOT? I've seen this for other projects as well. This is normal. Yeah, 100 wallets, 70% is... I've seen a lot higher. I've seen 100 wallets own 95% and 98%. It's just the nature of the beast. A lot of these people are obviously big holders. And that's one of the problems. But trust me, even though I own Polkadot, it is by far not the worst of them all out there. So again, it is a concern, and we like more equitable distribution. The most equitable distribution of all is Bitcoin. Nothing beats that. But there are a lot of names, and we have them all. We're working on expanding all of our matrix, the crypto compendium, to the top 300 cryptos, so we can, at the flick of a switch, answer any questions you guys have. So Ryan Palmer, thought experiment. Talk through the game theory if Afghanistan adopts Bitcoin as its currency and store of value in the next 4 months. That is super interesting because obviously a huge amount of the money that the Taliban, ISIS, whatever they're called now, however they brand themselves, is from drug money and extortion and everything else. And yeah, they would definitely prefer something like crypto instead of Bitcoin. Or instead of US dollars or fiat, which is what they normally get for their drug money. But the problem is with the Bitcoin, if they're smart, they wouldn't want to use Bitcoin because it's extremely easy to trace and confiscate. And it's also very difficult to on-ramp if they shut down their off-ramps. So that's what I would say there, Ryan. Great question. Theoretically, yes, but they'd probably use a different type of crypto if they could, because cash is extremely hard to move around the desert. Digital Asset News, buddy. It's Rob from Digital Asset. What's the name of the website you use to quickly evaluate crypto projects? Forgot the name. It's not a website. It's a model that we built. It's called a Crypto Compendium. Doesn't exist. So Rob, I'll share it with you, and we can have a look together, see what you think. Dana Cohen. And by the way, the compendium is designed to qualify crypto projects for a deep dive. It doesn't mean they won't explode in value, because sometimes crazy things go up in value, even though they have no fundamental value. So Rob will chat about that when we talk next. Dana Cohen, could you share the math behind selling profits considering 25% tax, what to consider before selling? Yeah, so it's funny you say that. We are working on a custom exit models at when to take profit based on your risk profile and everything else. And you reminded me of a great idea to integrate tax into the equation. So you can plug in your own local tax rate, short-term or long-term capital gains. But basically, imagine you buy something at $1 and it goes to $100, and you have a short-term capital gains tax, like if you're in California, between your federal and your state, and if you earn more than a certain amount of money, you can easily be paying 50% on your incremental revenue from short-term capital gains. So using 50% instead of your 25%, you need, say for example, you buy Bitcoin at $1,000, it goes to 100,000, you sell it, short-term, you make that in a year. It's not possible in a year because it hasn't gone from 1,000. It went from, 8 or 9,000 to, it could go to 100,000 in a year. But imagine it does go from 1 to 100. You have to pay $50,000 in taxes, which means for you to get back into Bitcoin after you're paying your tax bill, you got to be able to buy back in below $51,000. And that is what makes it difficult. And that's what everybody should take into account when they sell and when they have especially short-term capital gains. Like day traders, for example, that live in California, I don't know how they could ever make it. So, good question. Carl M., if you're going to exit cold storage positions from Theta and T-Fuel into and from ADA into Solana, what platforms and processes do you think utilize? I'd probably go with something like Uniswap, and I can't remember, I covered it yesterday in the platform of where to do it, but I don't know, I don't own T-Fuel or Theta, so I've never done it, so I can't talk from experience, but there's lots of options now, especially with all the DEXs that are out there. Send it to one of these DEXs and then convert it there, swap it out for whatever you want. I find like moving stuff like Ethereum to Uniswap, you buy Ethereum on exchange, put your Uniswap address, one of your white label addresses, and just kick it over and then play with it there for your more obscure coins. Thank you for your donation as well, Dana Cohen. You're very kind. Jeeves, packed bags for Bora Bora. Good man. MDHI Home Inspection, Cover Band, Sharpshifter, Ryan McGinnis, Jay Fisher. I bought the personalized license plate. Solana. I will put it on the Tesla one day. Morning from New Zealand. That is so cool. I have a personalized number plate as well for my Tesla, but it's not Solana. It says Tesla. Tuna's on toast. See you. Good to see you again. And Super Gadgets. Let me see. Super Gadgets 360. Good to see Dan here. Dan, Rob. Everybody calls you Dan, and it gets me confused sometimes. Rob is a scholar and a gentleman from Digital Asset News. He is one of the true decent people out here in the cryptoverse. So thank you as well for being here. Carl M., if you're going to exit... hang on a second. Did I cover that? Yeah, I did. Where am I going? So that's a repeat from the Carl M. question. Dushi Mahesh from Dubai. What are your thoughts on opening a long position in Bitcoin ETH without leverage and letting it accumulate more as it goes up? What type of long position? Like an option position, a future derivative? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I don't quite understand your question exactly. What type of future contract or derivative you're playing with here? I can't really answer your question, but I think I know what you mean, but I'm not sure. So sorry about that. Or my best friend in Korea, South Korea, Titi Blusk. I don't know if that means Titi Blue Singapore or something. I know you'll wait Friday PST, but any thoughts on the coming weekend for Bitcoin and ETH? Well, it looks like, so what used to happen, like before big bounces, you used to see the action happening late Saturday night. Like we're going back, say 6 weeks, late Saturday night action that would blend into Sunday and it would bounce. And then over the last couple of weeks, it's been happening Friday right before lunchtime Pacific time, so well remembered. Now we're seeing huge action today, but there was a lot of good news today. But what took me back from today is everything is green. There's like literally no red. So the only thing that is red right now in the cryptoverse is Quant, Elrond, and the Ethereum shorts. They're red. And Luna. Yeah, so sometimes the big names that did go up a lot, they are red right now. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I can't tell until tomorrow. But I was expecting a big move this week. I thought it would happen earlier this week where we'd have a straight shot to 50,000. It was nice for some people to get some fills low, like Ethereum under 3,000 this morning. I covered that in Patreon on Discord Live. I actually bought some Ethereum for a friend under $3,000. So that was a nice opportunity for many. So yeah, we'll see what happens. MT. Is the ETH link ratio still 0.02 ETH to 1 link? If so, it looks very cheap. Yeah, basically, Chainlink has been lagging, and it is. And everything else has been on fire. I do believe Chainlink is going back to $40. I just don't know when. Let's see exactly what it's doing right now. Let's see if we can get some insight. But Ethereum has been strong, and it's just going to get stronger, I think, as we go forward. Yeah, Link is up 7%, but it came down from a few days ago. When it seems to be struggling at that $30 level. $30, it just, the sellers come in and just ditch it. So we just need to get above the $30 for it to really take off. And remember, I think it was up at 40 just not too long ago. In May, late May, we were at $40. So it'll easily get back there, no doubt. All right, Steve Pat, do you recommend trading other cryptos like BAT or Polkadot into Sol, or should we keep a diversified crypto portfolio? Right now, if you look at my portfolio, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm nearly 40% Solana because it 4x'd. And I was very big on having kind of ballpark. My heavy convictions, which are like the top 3 or 4, was Aave, Solana, Chainlink, Polkadot, I think. I'm just going, I can actually find out right now. I put kind of more of a heavy weighting, like 15%. If you imagine portfolio being 100, I was 15% in each of those. But some have really run far, like Aave, Avalanche now, and Solana have gone crazy. Even buying Cardano at $1, that's gone up 2.3 times. So let me pull up these, my heavy conviction cryptos. I think short answer to your question is yes, it's important to have a balanced portfolio. Don't have all your eggs in one basket. And what you see is when you have something like Solana going from $20 to $80, nothing can 4x without taking a breather. And that's what it's doing right now. It's consolidating, it's resting before its next move. And we'll see what happens. And then when the big ones rest, the other ones catch up, the Algorands of the world. And now we're seeing Avalanche exploding and others. My high conviction alts, Link, Aave, Sol, Polkadot. I was right. Sometimes there's so much going on in my head, I can't remember. I want to make sure I tell you exactly what I'm thinking. So I would try get a heavier conviction. Think of ETH, obviously. Bitcoin, you need your big stack. ETH number 2. And then at least a quarter of your ETH should be probably Solana at this stage. And then dabble in some of the other names. Like the tokenomics of Avalanche aren't perfect, but it's one of those that is very good to speculate and be ready to trade out of those. So try keep moving around if you're okay with the short-term taxes. Mojo, stay on 3 exchanges or move all to FTX to get 100K needed for margin. Yeah, I would definitely, considering where we're going, get the 100K from margin if you want to. If you are in a position to hedge your bets, you need those tools as you go forward. So that's one of the things I did day one with FTX. I shouldn't disclose that, but that's what I wanted to do to get the margin and some of the other features that you get for that. So yeah, that's a good plan. The only reason you really need to play with other exchanges is to get access to coins. And also not have all your eggs in one basket. So don't hold any more than, like I always said, $250,000 per exchange in case they get hacked or something. That's risky. Then you start cold storing your crypto, or even less depending on the actual exchange. NAV, Google and DOT, entry point, please. Google is just $2,700. You can't stop the Google machine. If there is a gray swan event and a market crash and Google falls to 2,400 or 2,500, grab a little bit then. It could split, but that's a good name. And then Polkadot, let's look at the chart and see exactly what it's doing today. I know everything is kind of green. A very laser focused question from you. Polkadot. It was a great buying opportunity 3 days ago. Under $22. Now it's nearly 27. Yeah, you should definitely see Polkadot under $24. Anywhere under 24, if you don't have any, get a little bit. It's a good play. And their news with Facebook was quite stunning as well. Kian, how are you? Is there risk in storing all crypto on Celsius? Yes, don't put all your eggs in one exchange at all. If you say you've got $100,000 in crypto, or say 2 Bitcoins, I wouldn't put it all on one exchange. But if it's more than, again, like $250,000, definitely don't do that. And but if you need the revenue by which to live and stay free, financially free, then do it. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet, but you should also balance your risk. So look at your needs assessment of how much income you need versus how much risk you can tolerate. And thank you for your donation. PB Horror Gaming. That sounds like an interesting business. And Super Gadgets 360. You guys are all very kind. And again, for all the new people, all super chats and everything else gets donated to charity. And we sponsor animals and people in need. And we have somebody in control, so thank you. Jaime Aguirre. I invested 10K in March 21. Now it's a little over 100K. You're crushing it. My 2 biggest holdings are ETH and Cardano. Should I sell some ETH and Cardano and buy more Bitcoin? Well, it sounds like you have some Bitcoin, but I always recommend it's good to have, imagine all of your crypto is 100, have 60% of it in Bitcoin if you can. But Ethereum is also relatively safe. I'm approximately 60-40 between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I have a separate set of investments in the high-risk crypto like Solana, Polkadot, etc. So that's the way I work it. If what I said is true, comes true, and if Ethereum goes to $14,000, that means Bitcoin's going to 150 plus. So these things will be kind of in lockstep in the 10-to-1 ratio, I believe. So think about that. Again, either way, Ethereum is a great one to hold. The Underdog, can you update your Sea Life model now that I'm a whole coiner? I don't know if I'm still plankton at this point. Let me see, update your Sea Life model now that I'm a whole coiner. Well, congratulations on being a whole coiner first. No, you're not. You're not a plankton by no stretch of the imagination, but well done. I will update I've got this kind of, I call it the wealth pyramid for Bitcoin and where people stat rank. And I associate that to dollars. I'll update that as well because it's changing all the time. What's actually happening is more people, more smaller investors are getting access to Bitcoin, which is bringing the averages down. So when I first started doing this, to be in the top 1% of all Bitcoin holders, you needed 3.3 Bitcoin. Then during the crash, you needed 3.6. But I see it going to like 2.5 or 2 to be in the top 1% of Bitcoin holders because there's a lot of, as you say, plankton buying share. So that's good news. So Rise of the Crypto Walker in HODL portfolio after coins like Sol, ETH run up 100% profit. Should I still take initial investment and do the same thing as swing portfolios? It depends on what horse you're on. It's no doubt on my mind that Solana could easily go to 150 or 250 bucks. So it's good not to sell the true winners. I'll give you a simple case in point is me with Tesla. I got in real early. I was tempted to sell many times. The cost base is about $38 a share. And like for over 2 years, I was like, oh, should I sell? Should I sell? Should I sell? The answer is no. Hold on to them and wait. So there may come a time when, if that other thing that I referenced today of Ethereum going to 14,000 at the end of 2022, that means there might be a continuous bull market. Then you don't want to sell at all. Shakakakao, hope I got that right. In what possible way could the SEC regulate DEXs? I agree with Gensler that some protocols aren't as decentralized as they claim, but what can they do? So most of the DEXs, if you take Uniswap, they have an office in New Jersey. They can just walk up there and shut them down. And most of them do have access to people that control the strings and control the protocols. There is no DEX that I know of that cannot be shut down. So we should care. But you remember as well, the way the regulators work, they go after the low-hanging fruit first. So the most egregious violations of law, they'll go after first. So I think names like Uniswap and others, I think are going to be okay. Not sure about PancakeSwap or SushiSwap down the line. They, according to my initial calculations, they have much more regulatory exposure than Uniswap. And Uniswap actually took actions recently to take some of the coins off their shelves because of the regulatory risk that they faced. So they can definitely do it. Now, if a DEX is overseas, they have less power. But what they can do is prevent them from operating in the United States. So that's basically simply put how the law is. Cover band, Starshifter. What do you think about Holochain? Holochain. I had a brief look at it, and we have analyzed it. So, hold on a second. Oh, I need to switch user here. Hold on a second. Got to pull up the file, and I forgot to share it with myself. So, hold on. Bear with me. Select all. This takes a second. Holo. Clear. Holo. Oh. I don't know why it's not showing up. I definitely remember doing it. There it is. Oh yeah, really bad. Yeah, Holochain, not good for a number of reasons. The composite score is weak. Inflation high. Very centralized. And insiders own 75% of it. So red flags all over the place. And it has a very poor rating all around. So Holochain, no, not good. Although the ticker is hot. You'd think it would be hot, but it's not hot at all, in my opinion. Based on quant model, not a deep dive. Craig Moss, how are you? Is it possible to trade options on crypto? Yes, a whole bunch of places. It depends on the jurisdiction you're in, but there's tons and tons of places where you can trade options on crypto. A lot of the exchanges where you can do that are a little bit shady, but I think there's a place called Ledger X. That's probably the best. Let me confirm that name. Yeah, Ledger X is good. FTX is good. There's tons and tons of good places. So check your jurisdiction and look at the reviews out there. We actually should do, maybe think of it, an options trading course for crypto and a review of the top option exchanges, because some of them are very shaky. Millennial Falcon, I think that's a Star Wars thing. Any thoughts on LivePeer token as a future video streaming giant? Shriners Hospital for donations. Possibly, yes, Shriners and St. Jude and all those places. We're looking into those as well. Thank you for the tip. So, as you saw my video from yesterday, I believe there's a lot more money to be made looking at DeFi, even with the regulatory risk. But let me see if I have anything on LivePeer token. If it's a top 300, we do. So, hold on a second. And LivePeer. Yeah, it's okay. It's average. That's all I can say right now. We haven't done a full quant deep dive, but it's middle of the road so far. And we'll fill out some of the gaps, Millennium Falcon, and look into that. Marquitos Belo, would you consider making a video about PancakeSwap? So I don't like SushiSwap or PancakeSwap when I did an initial cut because they're not the leaders in the space, and they have. Let me just look at Pancake. I know Sushi is definitely not good. Pancake. It's a Pancake swap. Oh my God. Yeah. Horrific all across the board. I mean, it is just a complete nightmare from tokenomics, from inflation. Oh, it's just a disaster. Yeah, I would never even waste my time, because also, if I make a video and I slate something, I get so much hate, and it's just not worth it to me anymore. I'm just not going to do videos about things I don't agree with, because then all of the Pancake swap lovers come out of the woodwork and then they hate on me, and I don't have time for that. Douchey. Sorry, I wasn't clear. I meant opening a long position on Bitcoin and ETH futures. Yes, I thought about that myself. Great question. You know, buy if you get the right option, make sure you buy a little bit in the money. So, for example, like a $45,000 strike on Bitcoin out to at least March of next year, you're in good shape. Same thing with Ethereum. You want at least a sub $3,000 strike out to March, and it's a very good play. And remember, always buy a little bit of intrinsic value, and it'll pay off big dividend after the fact. Randy Brown, wanting to buy my first house in a few months. Do you recommend Celsius or BlockFi? Celsius all the way. And there's a link in the disclosure. Any Celsius referral revenue from the link, you get, I think, $50 now if you deposit $400 or more. If you're in California, you can borrow at 0%, and all money gets donated. So you're doing good too. Good juju. Vigor TZ, yeah, and I just don't trust BlockFi at all. So Randy, be very careful. Just Google, is BlockFi good on the internet, and you'll see. Vigor TZ, thoughts on helium mining after the last halving? Amazing. I think it's the second or third most profitable mining you can do out there. It's very hard to get helium miners. You have to wait months for them to arrive, and by then the opportunity may evaporate. So check it out. I'm not a miner. That's as deep as I can go, but that's what I do know. It's very lucrative. 280, has the recent surge in Sol affected your future purchasing price? Your future PP price prediction? Sorry, I should know that. Yes, it's bumped it up. So I have 4 Solana pricing models. My top most bullish scenario was 750, and I thought, whoa, this is crazy. Now it's feasible. You know, we shot from 22 to 80, or 20 to 80, 4x in no time. And I still believe, as long as Solana has a market cap less than Cardano, I still believe there's upside. So as Cardano goes up, it'll drag Solana with it. So that's my thought. And I think it's good. Bass strategy, trying to maintain a balanced portfolio between my crypto and equities, but my problem is my crypto is outperforming. Yeah, and they will do that. Remember, your cryptos will fly up faster, but they'll also fly down faster. So as you start making good money, imagine you make a ton of money on something like, I don't know, I won't say any names, but a dodgy, suspicious crypto. Take that profit off the table and stick it in something safe like Google or Tesla. Or even Amazon, if you get Amazon at $3,000. That's what I would recommend. And that does happen, and I've seen that as well. Even within my crypto portfolio, now Solana's 40% of my non-ETH Bitcoin bag. It's just huge. So, and it's like Avalanche, Solana, Aave are now big components of that because they've all grown so fast. So I'm hoping for the others to catch up, and hopefully it'll balance itself out. But yeah, as we get closer to the end of times, start moving profits off or unload, because that's a dangerous position to be in. Sunny066, thinking about converting a sizable amount of crypto profits after bull run to Pax Gold for the interest loan on Celsius. Thoughts? Could be good. I'm looking very carefully at gold. And, you know, the Palantir news and all the questions I get, and, you know, if we are going back to caveman days, maybe gold would be great out there, as we have spears and clubs in our hands and gold in our pockets to trade and barter. So that could be good. I haven't analyzed Pax Gold. I did hear good things about it. But yeah, as long as let's put it this way, Pax Gold is tied to gold. It should have very little downside from here. But even though you might be getting 15% interest, remember it's denominated in US dollars, which is debasing by 15%, which will make you zero. So think about that as well when you do make your investment. But Why not? Even for a short-term game like a quarter or so, while things tank and then flip back out of Pax Gold, it could be good. Craig Cox, Cardano dApps are still extremely cheap and gaining fast. Charl 3, ADAX, Card Starter. Yeah, there's a lot of I started looking at a lot of the Solana ecosystem players as well, and they were, in terms of how they're structured and tokenomics and everything else, really, really ugly, Craig. So make sure you do your research. I don't go too deep into the ecosystem. I did with Solana, and I didn't find anything good so far, except for maybe one, which begins with R, but we'll talk more about that when I get to it. But yeah, be careful with these players. Make sure you understand how they're structured. And it could be fast money, because as Cardano rises, it'll bring the ecosystem with it. But the ecosystem still also has to accelerate. So it could be a little bit early. And also, there could also be a little bit of a danger of buy the rumor, sell the news when it comes to whatever, September 14th with the Alonzo Purple launch. So we'll see. Howard. Ooh, damn Hex. Junk silver buy. The same question again. I don't get this question. I saw it yesterday too. So I don't know if it's a comment. Junk silver. I've been looking, if it's a question regarding silver, I have been looking at silver waiting to enter. But it's just these precious metals aren't moving, and they've never moved. So I haven't found the need yet. Sarah Leitner, do you use any metrics on track to track the strength of an altcoin season? If yes, I do. I'll use a ton of them to find out where we are. The most basic one is looking at Bitcoin dominance and where it stands. And right now we're seeing a lot of money flow between. In fact, Bitcoin dominance is 45.5% a few minutes ago. When I checked it last, it was 43% a few days ago. So Bitcoin's on the rise. In fact, let's check in on Bitcoin. I've missed it. I haven't seen it in a little while. Have we gone up during this stream? And yes, we have. Woohoo! You guys, you have such good positive juju. We have gone up $300, which is a win. And let me see. Ethereum has gone up $40. That's a bigger win. So Ethereum always runs faster. So Sarah, yeah, I can put together a list of all the metrics I use for basically identifying top of market and also when seasons begin. But you can rest assured we're in the middle of altcoin season for sure. But everything is disjointed. It's no longer running in tandem. Some alts run faster than others. Some take time to catch up. Some just fall asleep at the wheel. So make sure you're on the ones that are awake. Charles Kincannon, entry for Link and Sol. Leopards need love. Thank you, Charles, for the donation. For the leopards, we haven't sponsored a leopard, but we've sponsored 2 tigers so far. Let's see if we can find a leopard for you. And one in need, of course. So Chainlink, as I think I mentioned before, anywhere under the 24-ish mark is good for Chainlink. We were there 3 days ago. And Solana, I still like, even though it might sound crazy to people, but it's such a volatile beast. And I know we're at 72 right now, but we were at 58 less than 48 hours ago. So with a big downwick, under 60 is a good price. And I'd hate to recommend to somebody, you can buy at $72 after I went up from $20 to 72, because you're in very thin air up there, or thin ice, whatever you want to call it, and it can fall down easily. So I think under 60, 55 is optimal, 55 to 59. Try to get a fill on a downwick. But right now, the market is pumping like crazy. So let me see. Yeah, Bitcoin just goes up, up, up. So this could be the run to 50,000 that I was expecting to happen a few days ago. I think Tuesday. It looks like it might be happening Thursday. We'll see. Better late than never, as they say. Thank you, Charles. Bass strategy. What do you recommend I do? Ooh. What was the question? Bass. Okay, trying to maintain a balanced portfolio. Yeah, you need to, when things go high, Bass, get rid of the riskiest altcoins and move them into something safe, especially if there's a big equity dip. Again, like I mentioned, Google, Tesla, Amazon, these are really safe names for the next 5 years that have huge upside. They won't be doubling in 4 weeks or 5 weeks like crypto does, but they will add 50% in a year and a half. And that is a big move. Melo1, any thoughts on Tesla IA Day? What are your when you're opening up your Patreon again. First of all, regarding Patreon, we closed it, kept it intimate, but some people, their credit cards expire, or they non-renew or whatever. So there might be some openings September 1st. So try make it there. Just try be early, because apparently there's like 2,000 people at the door trying to get in. But we just want to keep it. We want to keep scammers out and keep it very exclusive. And again, this isn't about money for us. Any thoughts on Tesla IA Day? Extremely bullish. They wouldn't have an IA Day unless they had something extremely bullish to share with everybody. I have FSD in my Tesla X. It has some bugs, but half the time it's mind-blowing. And the way it learns and gets better each time you go around a road it's never been on is just craziness. So I think they're going to talk maybe FSD version 10, Dojo, and go into a whole bunch of detail. And they'll definitely be unveiling some new stuff. Again, I think it's incredible. They have over 1 million cars on the road now, feeding them data. We're talking trillions and trillions of miles of data that the Tesla Dojo system is AI monitoring, shadow monitoring in real time. Trillions of miles. And no other car company can compete with that. And I know people say, oh, did you check out NIO and all these other car companies? It's like, it's not about the car. It's about the AI. And it's about the battery technology. That's the play. And that's why I'm so bullish on Tesla. So, it's going to be great. I don't know what they're going to unveil. I'm not an insider, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Thank you for your donation as well. Sunny066 and Spunky Punkette. That's a cool name. And hopefully we're closer up. Oh, there's a ton more questions. Oh my God, I better pick up the speed. All right. Live, love, life, fit. AI Day. Where do you see Tesla tomorrow? It had a little bit of a bounce today. It wasn't too strong. I'm very, very excited for it. As you know, I'm a huge... Actually, no, it tanked $15. Today was such a big crypto day. I wasn't even looking at Tesla. I think right now, the market is suffering. The Tesla market is suffering from some of those crashes that actually were reported, especially into service vehicles. And they're going to have to come out with something to rebut that type of news, because it is very, very scary. But then again, some of the cases was one guy was completely intoxicated at 3 a.m. Yeah, blame the car, whatever. I just get more blown away by the FSD every single day, first-hand user. Anyway, so I'd say Tesla, if they do announce something mind-blowing, we go straight above 700 again. And Michael Burry will be hurting if that happens. So we'll see. Daniel Etherington, what are your thoughts on NIO? NIO the car company, or that'd be NIO. Hang on a second. It's NIO the crypto. Oh. So first of all, it looks okay. We haven't done a deep dive into it, but so far from our rudimentary analysis, it's okay. It warrants a deeper dive. So that's all I can say on NIO right now. But it is, yeah. The only opinion is it's not bad, which is actually a very positive sign, because they're very strict on that. So Daniel, thank you for your question. Kermit, do you think ETH will growth will be stunted due to its high gas fees? If we're starting a project, I wouldn't put it on ETH for that reason alone. That's true. The layer 2 solutions solve a lot of that. Gas fees did spike because of the sheer growth in the network. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so bullish on Solana, is because they don't have that problem. That being said, Ethereum will solve that problem in about 16 weeks with, I believe, ETH 2.0. So in the meantime, it's just a timing thing. EIP 1559 has done a little bit of work to solve some of that problem. So it's not too bad. It just depends. But if you're doing a $10 transaction and it costs $5 in fees, $10 in fees, sometimes even more, it can be killer. So you're dead right. But it gives opportunity to other players. I still believe ETH, because of their network effect, will be fine. And they're going to solve all these problems. I have a lot of confidence. Dan Ragnar, wait for the bear market to buy and long hold Sol. That would be risky. So basically, imagine Solana goes to my target of 250 or even 150. and the maximum retracement, I think, will be no more than 50%. Take it down to 75, which is higher than where we are now. So that could be a risky play. So I wouldn't recommend that. Mark Burnett, do you think this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity at this moment in time? Absolutely. I see it every day. The decade, 2020 to 2030, is transformational, and we'll never have it again. At least I'll never see it in my lifetime. I've been in markets for 31 years. I've never seen anything like this. This is, and I got excited before 2020 even hit. And I didn't, like in 2017, I had no idea what DeFi was, if it was ever going to be a thing. And then when DeFi started coming to the fore last year, and smart contracts and all that type of stuff, like becoming real with real use cases, I just was mind blown. So yeah, this is definitely a once in a lifetime investment opportunity. That's why I say it's even worth risking holding on to things like student debt. If you have a low interest rate, like 3% or less, and not paying off mortgages and just reinvesting in this area for the next 5 years, 8 years, it'll be transformational. I do believe, Mark. Good question. Caligula, how are you? This may be too in the weeds, but I'm curious on how to go about doing a price prediction for GZIL, the ZIL governance token. It's so limited. It is. I looked at it when I did the Zilliqa. I like Zilliqa. I bought a small $500 bag of Zilliqa. I do that before I analyze every token. And but GZIL didn't look attractive to me, and I can't remember the exact reason because I did it a while back. But anytime there's governance tokens, unless you're really involved in the protocol, it's probably not worth having. Master Block Warrior, do you invest in any stocks outside the US like TSM? I do. I have Baidu from China, but under $100 I bought last year, and it's losing money right now. It's not losing money. I'm still up. More than 50%, but it's not doing well. And other than that, no, I tend to look at the top disruptive stocks that I know, and they all tend to be American. I don't care if they're in Iran or in Japan or Brazil, as long as they're disruptive. But all the big names tend to be in the US for some reason. So Master Block Warrior, I will check out TSM because it sounds interesting if you're mentioning it. Jerry Kemp, I own some Bitcoin, but considering doing some ASIC mining for Bitcoin. Have you ever considered mining? Nope, I got no time, and I don't need to. Do you think about mining Bitcoin as opposed to buying Bitcoin? You could, but remember, Jared, I mean, if you talk about Bitcoin mining, you've got to have a lot of equipment. You've got to have at least 5 or 10 ASICs miners even to think about getting started. And then you're up against companies that are buying 20,000 rigs at a time. And then they're deploying them in huge areas, and they have electricity under 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So if you got cheap electricity, you got access to 10 rigs fast at a cheap price, give it a whirl. But it's cutthroat business. But that being said, there's never been a better time to be in Bitcoin mining than now, especially with the prices going crazy and China shutting down. So it was a huge boon to the mining industry that China gave the rest of the world. For good or bad for the Chinese people. Nav, if you buy Riot, Hut, sell at the top or HODL? It depends. For example, I like Hut because they promise never to sell their Bitcoin, and they'll have 5,000 Bitcoin at least on their balance sheet by December. So 5,000 times $100,000, you can do the math. It's a big chunk. It's about 30 to 40% of their intrinsic value. And their ability to produce more, and they're scaling like crazy. Riot, I think in terms of Riot, I may sell because the management team there, when I looked into them in the past, I need to do a redo of all my mining stocks. That's on the long list of things to do, and analyze them all in greater detail. So I'd probably just like to hold Hut. I just love the company and the team. And Canadians are cool anyway. So Sharp 87s. Your end of ETH 2021 prediction 2022. It's hard to say. My original prediction for ETH at the end of this bull run, which goes to March now, it used to be December 2021. Now we're going to March 2022, about 8,900. But with the strength of everything, it could go a lot higher. So a lot of people are talking about $20,000 ETH, and look at Bitcoin. Since I started this, it's up. Let me see. Wow, $1,000. You guys are incredible. So Bitcoin just went up $1,000 and Ethereum went up $80. That's mad. Yeah, so I think $8,900 is probably super conservative right now. Hard to say about the cycle, but I'm definitely leaning more towards the $10,000 mark for Ethereum at the rate things are going, especially if ETH 2.0 is a success, and especially if the bull market continues into 2022. Then we're going to see crazy things happening. Just look at the exchange. The supply and exchange is absolutely going away, and it's going to go parabolic. Mark my words, everybody. You heard it here first. I probably sound a bit too bullish in Ethereum. And it's going to drag up the rest of the market too. Ninja Nid. Entries for Matic. Yeah, Polygon is just sucking wind right now. It's been, of all the cryptos I bought, it's been the worst. Even though it had such an amazing review when we did that. Matic, again, I think it could pop. The guys are very creative. They're doing some brilliant use cases. And let me see where I think we could go. Yeah, anything like $1.40 would be reasonable. $1.30 you could have had there a couple of days ago, even yesterday. So yeah, $1.30. It's what I say. High, like $1.32, $1.33 would be where I'd enter, and I do believe Matic will go right back to 250. So you got a good 70% upside there. Let me see. What are your thoughts on having my S Corp invest a Bitcoin or ETH? Yeah, if you have a bank balance sheet that you need for running working capital, you can keep a Bitcoin on your balance sheet there for sure. And better than holding it in cash, and it can be justified. You can point to many other use cases, so it shouldn't be a problem. Mit Dawan, did you see Bitfarms financials? Is Hut 8 better? Bitfarms is incredible. Haven't dug into it. I own Hut 8, and I don't spend a lot of time analyzing miners because I prefer other assets. Again, my thesis is always the same. Never a better time in the history of the world to be a miner in North America. But that could change. It's a cutthroat business. Other countries are ramping up, and just look at the hash rate go like this. The more the hash rate goes up, the more competitive the whole space is, etc. But the price of Bitcoin will also go up, make it more profitable, but we'll see. I haven't done a deep dive into Bitfarms yet, but it's on my list of the 1,000 things I need to do. Dushi Mahesh, what are your thoughts on Audius tokenomics? Let's have a look. And let me see if I have it. Not bad, actually. Not bad from what we've seen. But we again have because it's so far out there. I can't remember where it is in the coin market cap. But Audius. Let me see if I can pull anything in here real quick. And yeah, hard to say. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't look at Audius because I don't look at Theta, and it's already run. When something has already gone up 2 or 3x in a couple of weeks, I don't bother chasing it, so I don't research it. Sorry about that. And sometimes as well, a quick warning to everybody out there. I know what you guys do. You wait for things to go up 100% and then you say, oh, time to buy, time to buy. That's a dangerous strategy. You want to lay your traps. You want to be in your positions before they bounce. Then exit. Don't get in after they bounced. So that's money-making secret right there. SGB 4622. Thoughts on stablecoin whose collateral is vested and returns give charity. I'm a comp sci student working on this. That is an excellent idea. You know, the Robin Hood of the day is Alex Mashinsky at Celsius, and he kind of gives 80% of his profits back to the network, which is huge. And I don't think people quite realize how unique that is in this world. But that is a great idea. SGB, I love it. And anything that can give anything back to the world and make the world a better place, I'm all in. So, and thank you for your donation as well, Ronnie Oliveira. Always ready to watch your videos and make some decisions on my next move in crypto. Good stuff. And I think that could be it. hopefully that's a wrap, everybody. Oh, maybe not. Now I'm losing my voice. So, we'll cut off after these guys. SGB 4622, again, illegal data can be encoded in any existing blockchain. So far, we haven't had an attack on a chain like this, but since blocks cannot be removed, it's a matter of time before a dangerous time bomb instructions are on chain. Well, that's why they limit block size. So there's no room for bad code. That was a big debate with Bitcoin back in the day. And there are some blockchains that are just going to be very sketchy. But there are some, if you look at the security of things like Ethereum, it's rock solid and it's been rock solid since day one. And you got a lot of other chains that come out and they just get hacked and cleaned out all the time. So it's a very, very good point. There was I think there was a piece of mining code for one of the mining softwares and keys that had malware on it that was stealing money. I think it was Monero, actually, that had that. So yeah, it's already kind of happened in phases in different ways. And it's definitely part of the Wild West of this whole dangerous area. Jacob Gentry, you're so kind. Have you heard anything about Tony Lanez releasing the first NFT album and artwork? There's only 1 million copies and he sold it for $1 each. It sold out in less than a minute. You think there's potential resale value? Definitely, Jacob. It takes me back to, the first album to ever do something like this. It's pre-NFTs, a long time ago, but it was a band called Radiohead with In Rainbows. And they put their album out for free download and people could contribute. And I think I gave them $30 or something, which is more than a CD or whatever it would cost back then in the day. But that is huge. And like for these artists as well, to be able to mint their music and their art and sell directly without middlemen is also great. So I will check out Tory Lanez. I think the problem is we're getting to a stage now where there's going to be so many NFTs. It'll be two a penny, like NFTs of the Mona Lisa and NFTs of this. And what are you really going to do with an NFT? So I still struggle with that because of the infinite supply. I much prefer true unique pieces, but we'll see. But yeah, $1 million, $1 each, good for him. And there might be some resale value, but to be honest, I don't listen to music anymore apart from very rare piece of music. So I've never heard of Tory Lanez. I don't know if it's a man or a woman. Andrew Eklund, seems like GBTC is losing correlation to BTC more and more discount. I know. I talked about that yesterday and I saw the huge disjoint and it's crazy. So yeah, definitely. If you have a retirement account and you need an on-ramp to Bitcoin, GBTC is 16% off. I am 98% convinced Gary Gensler will approve Grayscale Bitcoin ETF first. 98% sure of that. And it's going to happen within 6 months. Heard it here first again, everybody. That's my theory. Been watching that very carefully. So basically, you're getting 16% off Bitcoin. It's literally a no-brainer. Zena Alt, with a few thousand, is it worth holding Bitcoin? A few $1,000s worth or a few thousand Bitcoin? I don't think you'd be sitting here if you had a few thousand Bitcoin. Yes, it is, of course. It seems like other horses like Polygon, ETH, and Sol would provide more exposure. So if it's all you have, imagine you have $10,000 and it's all in Bitcoin. Consider maybe taking 40% of it and putting it in Sol and ETH, because they will run faster. You're just seeing that even just me talking here live, Ethereum went up a lot more than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin has gone up a lot. Let's see if there's any quick update as well while we're here. Yeah, Bitcoin's up another $600. I mean, it's insane. And Ethereum has just shot up another 60. So Ethereum's gone up $100 and Bitcoin has gone up at 1,200. So on a percentage basis, Ethereum is still faster, but just a little bit though. But Bitcoin's really on fire. I mean, from 44,000 a few hours ago to nearly 48,000. So it's mad. So Zena, yeah, think about that as well. And watch for taxes too. Mad Max, what a great name. Does it make sense to sell retirement EFTs and mutual funds and buy winner stocks? Yes, always. When you have a mutual fund, it'll have 100 holdings, 60 holdings, whatever, or an ETF. The top 10% carries the whole bag. The bottom 10% eat away at the bag, and the middle stay flat. So if you look at the S&P 500, the mid-market companies have not moved since March. The S&P 500 is carried by the top 10 names. The other 490 companies suck. So that's just the number, just the math. So what I like to do is maybe identify like a top ETF. If they have 60 holdings, pull out the top 5, analyze them to death, choose your entry position, and you can make much more money than a mutual fund. So the problem mutual funds have is they got to move hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars around, and they can't just stick that all in Tesla or Google. Although, what's his name? Warren Buffett did that. His portfolio, billions and billions of dollars, is half Apple. So I guess it is theoretically possible, although it's not a mutual fund per se. Satwik Deshpande, how are you? What about Elrond prediction for this year? Elrond I don't look at because it has already run. So honestly, I hate to say it, I haven't done price predictions. It takes a lot of work, a lot of time to do price predictions. And because I haven't invested in Elrond and I haven't done due diligence on it, I haven't built a price prediction model. So sorry about that. But there's only so many hours in the day, everybody. And I work hard enough as it is. Graham Cran, I have a small bag of IOTA, which is a long-term player in the space, so I know it very well. Hedge, I don't like IOTA. I analyzed it and didn't like it. And let me just pull up any other data here. Hang on a second. Let me pull up my recent IOTA model. Hang on. And the IOTA. Let me give you the full skinny now. That took a second to come. All right. There's a couple of things I don't like about it. The inflation, the insider distribution, the rating. It's average, but don't expect it to explode. So, again, very superficial dial. It's let's check out the chart actually, because I remember looking at it and I remember saying it was not good. Sorry, this is taking so long. IOTA. No. There we are. I know a lot of people do actually hold it. Yeah, if you just look at the chart, it's like, ugh, it's like dead on arrival, and it's been around for years and years. That's part of the problem. So, yeah, I wouldn't hold it. I looked at it. It didn't look attractive by any stretch. Dane Johns, sorry. What makes you play the bull run? We'll go to March. So everything I look at. So we lost 3 months. We lost 10 weeks during the summer. And money is just beginning to arrive in. So all the big institutional money, and that'll keep things floated. Remember, this is a game of money flows, and the money flow is coming in, and that's going to keep things floating for a long time. It takes big money, big family offices, institutions, a long time to get the paperwork in order to be able to invest in Bitcoin. And that's why I believe it's going to last a lot longer. Plus, add to the fact that we lost 10 weeks as well. Don Regner again. Do a video on Lido versus Rocket Pool staking for Ethereum. Yes, I will. Thank you, Don. And thank you for your donation as well. Satwik Deshpande, you're very generous. Holiday Blaze and Thinkable. Cool name. Oh, this, hopefully this is it. I'm running out of juice here. Any plans for a video based on Bitcoin ATMs? Yeah, Bitcoin ATMs, when I think about them, it's a great way for one, scams to happen because they can be hacked very easily and people can steal your codes. Second of all, people go into a grocery store, go to a Bitcoin ATM, punch in some cash and take out some Bitcoin, have it on a little receipt, put it in the back pocket, goes in the laundry machine, it's lost. That's the problem. I know there's ways of getting it back, but most people will just be careless and lose it. So I think it's a great way to make Bitcoin further deflationary over time, but they're very risky. Alex Losing, how can I become a capitalist member of Patreon? Try come in September 1st. If people non-renew, there'll be some openings. So, and thank you as well for your donation. Think Blue, Joshua Longstreth, just catching up. So I'm at the beginning of the live stream. Fidelity just sent out an email about Bitcoin webinar, maybe going to expand offerings. Yes, they sure are. All the big money centers, all the big investment firms are all getting in hard right now. We saw the Wells Fargo news today as well. Did you answer this one? Jacob Gentry, have you ever heard anything about Tony Laz? Yes, I did. We talked about the artwork and the NFTs and the space, and I talked about Radiohead and everything else. So, yep, got that Cool. I hope that's it. I don't know if there's any more questions. We've been going for, oh my God, an hour and 15 minutes. That's way longer than normal. My voice is dying. So K8, goodbye. She's letting me go. So it looks like it's going to be a good night, everybody. That's just final check-in on exactly what's going on in the market. See if anything is continuing to pump. Yes, it is. Everything looks great. See if there's any laggards. What's not going up? Oh, the worst performer on my list is Cardano, down 0.5%. XRP, down 0.5%. Polygon Matic, down 0.5%. Elrond, down as well. So, some things are down, other things are up. Again, Doge is up, Zilliq is up. So things move in their own way. So thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow.